Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Virgo, Sun, Moon or Ascendant. For the month of December, I hope you are well. We're using the Llewellyn tarot for you today. A little bit of housekeeping before we begin. If the reading resonates with you and you would like to go a little bit deeper, there will be an extended that you can access at the end. The link for that is in the description box. That's link number 1. The second link is a 6-month overview that I have done for each of the signs individually, running from January to June 2023. They're running at approximately 3 hours, 4 hours long, depending on what sign you are. So I think they're well worth the money. And there was a lot of very interesting things that came out in those. So if that's something that you might be interested in, like I said, that's link number 2. And link number 3 is to my private community over on Circle, the Order of the Phoenix. One of the benefits of that is that if you join at the mid-tier, you get access to all of the extended content for no extra cost, and that's all signs, not just yours. So on top of that, we also have, a community that is starting to grow in size, that is full of people of like mind. There's lots of interests, lots of different sections that you can go and explore, and lots of things going on. So if that's of interest to you, link number 3. But let's get on with why we're actually here. Let's see what's going on with you, Virgo. Can I have 3 cards for Virgo, please? So we've got the 10 of Swords in your recent past. Current energy is the 6 of Wands. Wow, could you have 2 more different energies? And what's coming towards Virgo for December? We have the Ace of Wands. I like this. I like that actually very much. We've got the Devil at the bottom of the deck. That's Capricorn energy, and it's followed by the 3 of Swords. So straight from the off, we can see that there's been something that you've been dealing with that really gets to the heart of something that is a very deep-seated fear with you, right? It's going to have its expression in some sort of restriction or obstacle that you're dealing with at the moment, and absolutely predicated on some sort of past hurt. But what I'm seeing here is a clear case of progression. Now let's get some clarifiers out on the table and you can see what we're looking at. Tell me about this 10 of Swords, please. We've got the King of Swords. Nice. We have the 10 of Swords. Oh, thank you. And the 3 of Pentacles. Tell me about the 6 of Wands for Virgo, please. We have the Magician. And we have the 2 of Wands. The Magician is Virgo or Gemini energy, depending on how you read it. So we've got you showing up there in a far more powerful way, I feel, than or just as powerful as shit, actually. Let's just leave it there for a second. How about the Ace of Wands? Where's the Ace of Wands here, please? Well, thank you. We have the 6 of Wands again, and one more for Virgo, please. Thank you. And we have the 9 of Pentacles. Things are really looking up. We've got the Death card at the bottom of the deck here, and I like this for you. I actually love everything about this reading here for you. Let me just flip it around so that you can see what I'm seeing. Sorry about the sun. When it comes through at this time of day, it does tend to bleach the cards out a little bit, but hopefully you've got a good enough idea of what I'm looking at here, so we can see where we're going. So, like I said, I think things have been a little bit rough for you recently. And the way in which they have been rough, I think, will probably vary dramatically for each of you. But this Devil card here and this 10 of Swords over here is sufficient to say that there's been something that you've been needing to look at. The Devil card often talks about restriction and the ways that we feel trapped. And it also talks to the fact that that is an illusion. It's a perceptual state that we find ourselves in, where it seems like every road we go down, there's just a slammed door, And in whatever case this Devil is an archetype for you, I do feel like it's been leaning into something of your deepest fears, in so much as it's been bringing them to the surface. If you pull back from the situation that you've been in just a little bit and see what has been being triggered in you in the last, I'll say, month. I mean, it could be as early as this morning, to be honest, but maybe it's as far as about six weeks back, and all the time in between. What has been triggering you? What has been coming up? what has been rising to the surface in terms of what makes you feel uncomfortable, what makes you feel restricted, and what makes you feel trapped. The reason that I'm asking about this is because we've got this Ten of Swords here in your recent past. It does feel in some ways like hitting rock bottom when that card comes out, but I'm wondering if what we've got going on here is a rather illusory state of being at rock bottom, which is to say that, frankly, you've been much lower before, Virgo. And although you've been triggered by something, and although that feeling of being at rock bottom has surfaced slightly, I'm more interested in what's going on underneath that. Why have you felt triggered by something? As we know, life doesn't always go our way, and Virgo, I actually think in a lot of ways you become terribly resilient out of necessity more than anything else. But rather than this Ten of Swords being something that's been hitting you right now, it feels like it's the shades of the Ten of Swords. Kind of like, oh, I've been here before, been here already. You know, I don't like the way that this is going. But having that feeling of kind of catching yourself before you kind of spiral down and going, well, wait a minute. This King of Swords here is about clarity of thought. It's often to do with the professions, so, you know, doctor, lawyer, accountant, that sort of thing. But latterly we're starting to see it indicating tech as well, any sort of tech issue, tech positions, all that sort of thing, because it's something that's very mind heavy, right? You've got to put emotions out of the way, and it's all about the way that the mind works, and the implication is that the mind works very cleanly and it's not distracted by, you know, X, Y and Z emotional matters. The point is, though, I feel like this King of Swords is an energy that you are employing at the moment to look at the Ten of Swords rather than to be experiencing it anew right now. Like, these three cards here, to me, feel linked in a really significant way. Because what's rising to the surface is something that is wanting to be renewed. I mean, we'll get to that in a second, right? It's something coming up to the top for healing and saying, I'm kind of sick of bubbling away down here. And with the King of Swords, you are looking at this and going, well, actually, why do I feel like I've been at rock bottom this time when I know that rock bottom is actually considerably further down than where I am right now? What are the ways in which I feel trapped? What am I scared of? There's more of an intellectual curiosity about this position than feeling it really deeply. Maybe that is Ten of Swords, the King of Swords, Star. It's the card of Aquarius as the King of Swords is here, but it speaks to healing. It speaks to connection. It speaks to lots of things, actually. It speaks to the future. And what we could have here is a situation whereby you have been examining, you know, what it is that you're working for, the people that you're choosing to have in your life and what you're working with them towards. What is the point of all of this underneath it? And maybe even looking at old situations. Yeah, there's a lot of healing going on here. There's a huge amount of healing. Maybe it's a consideration of how you show up in a Three of Pentacles situation. Do you give your all? Do you give too much? Do you hold part of yourself back because of the fear of hitting the Ten of Swords again? You know, there's a sense here of you kind of having folded up on yourself just a little bit recently. And then this process of unpacking it again and being all like, hello, why am I doing this? Is something a little bit more than just the Three of Cups here. And the Three of Cups for me is emotional support, right? But this is an act of building. This is cooperation and teamwork and collaboration. It is the people that you are working with to create your life. Not just to create something in a workplace, you know. And the King of Swords is examining all of this and saying, where can something be healed here? Because it seems in some ways that the people that are involved are more or less irrelevant to the process that has been going on here for you at this time. It's more about examining why this Ten of Swords has occurred. And it doesn't have to be in the here and now. It could be something a little bit further back. But this willingness to open up that we see with the Star and we see with the Strength card, it's talking about the way that you are choosing to grow. But I feel like it all centres along this axis here and perhaps over here too. What have you seen about yourself that you did not see before? What have you put together that you didn't see before? What have you decided that you didn't decide before? You know, perhaps didn't even come to the table for making a decision about something. Because with this Death card here, there's a transformation, and I feel like the transformation is in your mindset. Principally because you're allowing yourself to open up for healing in a way that you didn't before. You know, perhaps you have fallen out with some people. This could see you having kind of brought it back together. And actually, do you know what? It's more important that we work together than I sit back here and feel like I'm at rock bottom. You know, it's kind of taking what you do and looking at it, making sure that it's coming from the right place. You know, the King of Swords is very, very objective. What we don't have here is any card that speaks about emotion. We've got fire, we've got air, we've got pentacles, but we haven't got cups. And in fact, that's true for the rest of the reading too. I mean, it's all pentacles and wands after that. So where have your emotions come out of balance? Have you been in your emotions so hard that in order to bring yourself back to center, everything else has to, the cups element, the water element needs to be kind of put to the side at the moment. King of Swords, like, let's put that to the side at the moment and deal with just the facts of the matter. Where do I need healing? Where do I need picking up? Where can I open up to the possibility of being assisted in that? That's huge too. But this sense of opening is really big with you, Virgo. Let's say that Three of Pentacles is at the bottom of the deck again there. So I wonder if you've been triggered by, you know, past wounds, or current situations that have triggered past wounds, and suddenly they've been seen in a way that they weren't seen before. Maybe you have been being too emotional of late. Maybe your emotions are the thing that's been ruling everything. And maybe that's the thing that's had you spiraling down to the point where you feel like you're touching on the Ten of Swords, only to come back up again and go, oh no, hang on, I see what's going on here. Because it's quite interesting that we go from that energy there to the Six of Wands in your current energy. Now, I don't think that you are feeling victorious at this time, to be honest. Virgo, I feel what's happening here is there is a contemplation of what feeling victorious would look like for you. Now, I think because the Death card and the Devil are at the bottom of the deck there, both of those, I think that possibly some of that is up for review by you at this point. Because it could be that you've been trotting down one particular road for a long time. You're like, this is what success looks like. If I was doing well, then these would be the markers for it. And then maybe you haven't hit any of those markers. And instead what's been happening, God, why is this so... Focus, why is this so blurry? The realization of the fact that perhaps the way you've defined success is something that is not in alignment with who you actually are. We've got a revision going on here. And I feel like the revision is about your idea of what makes a successful Virgo at this point. Like I said, I think that you've been far too much in your emotions and it's had to kind of swing back pretty hard this way. Maybe you've been dragging it back this way, Virgo. But here we've got the Magician. And that is the ultimate card of taking charge of a situation. And imposing your will over it. Now, I wonder if you're imposing your will over yourself, because we've got this Two of Wands here, this crossroads energy that is having you decide which way you're going. Now, sometimes this crossroads energy can be quite big. It can be like, well, here I have a choice to go this way, or I have a choice to go in the absolute opposite direction. And we walk through the consequences of ending up wherever we do if we take either one of those roads. But sometimes there are smaller crossroads than that. And I feel like we have a crossroads moment 100 times a day when we choose to do one thing over another. Over time, these can make big differences. What do they say about new diets or exercise regimes or any of those kind of things, right? It's all about consistency. It's about recognizing every time you come to a point where you're making a choice about something, you're making a decision, that maybe not eating that box of Maltesers, she says guiltily, is the right thing for you. And maybe instead what you should do is get up and go and have a run, or even something less than eat some celery instead of some fucking Maltesers, right? The cumulative effect of those small decisions over time is something that is quite consistent, and something that actually doesn't require motivation from that point on, because it's all just about discipline. Now, for you, I feel like because you are reconsidering what success looks like, in whatever way that this applies to you, this could be success in relationships, success in your work, success in health, in all sorts of ways, right? How do you feel like you are winning? The magician's saying, well, I've realised that I've been taking on a little bit too much emotionally of late, and I need to draw back from that, and I need to start thinking about what I want to create from my life. This is the act of manifestation right here, but he's right next to this decision-making card, this recognition of a crossroads, a series of many crossroads perhaps. And he's saying, well, we need to go back to the drawing board somewhat. Tell me about this magician card. I mean, for some of you, it might have been that you'd allowed yourself to get up inside your head about stuff. Oh, look at that. That you had become so anxiety-ridden and so worried that it actually stopped you from doing anything. Notice that it's quite heavy on the swords on this side, even though the Star and the King of Swords are good cards, and actually in some ways I think the Ten of Swords is a good card. It's very heavy on the thinking. And good. Maybe that's what you needed to break the cycle of the overly emotional way that you've been doing things recently. But when we come here, right, we've got a cup on the table, and so that's worth pointing out right there. But we've got wands and we've got wands. We've got water here and earth again, with the Hierophant and the Chariot. And it's really, should I stay or should I go? And but not in terms of any decision that is in front of you right now. And it's not like, shall I stay in my job or shall I leave? Shall I stay living where I am or should I leave? Should I stay in this relationship or should I leave? More, am I happy where I am? Am I happy being the person that I am? Or do I want a little bit more from my life here? Because the Hierophant is Taurus energy and it's very static. It's fixed earth. The Chariot is Cancer. And that is mutable water. Is that mutable water? No, it's cardinal water, beg your pardon. And they want to go in opposite directions, which is to say, actually, that the Hierophant wants to stand still and the Chariot wants to move. Now, it's coming out underneath this magician here, and we've got this Two of Wands here. And so what on the face of it just looks like, maybe it's a simple conversation that you're having with yourself at the moment. What does success look like to me as a Virgo? I feel like it's running really, really deep with you at the moment. Because it feels like it's the pre-shocks of, do I want to spend another fucking day stuck in this Groundhog Day kind of energy of constantly having to draw myself back from the edge, whether it be through anxiety or, whatever, overthinking. How do I bring about a meaningful change that sees me actually headed towards a goal, something that inspires me, but also has the capacity to keep me busy enough to stop me from falling down a hole? You know, we've got the Five of Swords at the bottom of the deck here, and I do think that is a nod to the fact that you understand that some of the ways that you've been thinking about things recently probably wasn't right. Oh, look at this fucking sun, man. Honestly, I swear to God. Because I see that as cognitive loops, right? And the thing with cognitive loops is that we don't recognize readily that we're stuck in them. Like, somebody might point it out once, and that might be a thing, or somebody, you know, or you might read something in a book and you're like, oh, hang on, holy shit, I do that. And then you start digging around as to why you might do that, and why that's become some sort of automatic response that is so automatic that it actually happens, you know, sub rosa. You don't see it happening. It's so subconscious that you just do it and you move on, right? It's an autopilot kind of energy. I feel like you're challenging yourself here, Virgo, to put the lights on, if I could put it like that. And look at all of this wand energy here, right? It's about vigor and health and enthusiasm and passion and showing up. It's about experiencing and living. And you feel to me like you're challenging yourself to bring that back into your life in some way or another. I mean, first, I would imagine it's necessary to work out why it's not there in the first place. How has it escaped from you? And I would imagine that the Five of Swords have something to do with that. I've got the Four of Wands beneath that. It's kind of like you need to take a step back and you need to kind of undo some things and make sure that your foundation is in the right place. I'll pull out this deck here a second. Because if I'm honest, Virgo, like, you feel to me like you got to the point where you're fucking bored. You are fucking bored of feeling the way that you are feeling. It's like it's gone beyond anxiety. It's gone beyond panic. It's gone beyond fight or flight kind of feelings now. It's just kind of, it's the same cycle that seems to be repeating with you over and over again. You're like, something needs to fucking change here. I am so fucking bored of feeling like this. There must be another way. What about the Two of Wands, please? Two of Wands is clarified by the Two of Wands, which I'm going to take as validation that it's right. We've got the Five of Wands, more wandage. And we've got the Nine of Wands and the Fool. Now, this is important because there we have, you need to see it, that's the Lover's card at the bottom of the deck here, about conscious co-creation and manifestation and how you put yourself into the slipstream of new things, opening yourself up to and aligning with an energy that is taking you somewhere for new experiences, right? But then it's also really quite spectacular how many times the Five of Wands has been coming out with the Six of Wands for people, not just this month, but also in the 6-month overviews that I've done for everyone. And the reason that I find this fascinating is because I had a conversation with my mentor a couple of weeks ago about the Six of Wands, because as a Leo, born in the second decan of Leo, this is my card, right? Lord of Victory. And what that doesn't say, and what it absolutely does not say, is that Leos born in the second decan will always be victorious. No. It's saying that victory is important for us, but also so is losses. Because it's as simple as this. I think, at least, this is the conclusion that I've come to, and I've come to this over time and in lots of different modalities, even in kickboxing, you either win or you learn. There isn't actually really a loss. Loss is perspective when it comes to where you put yourself out there and what you get out of it. Now, The reason that I think it's interesting that the Five of Wands keeps coming up with the Six of Wands is because of the nature of the conversation that I was having with my mentor, which is where he pointed out correctly, and I completely agree, that this doesn't mean that you win all the time. It means that in order to get to a point where you feel like you're victorious, you have to put yourself out there. You actually have to put yourself in a position where you are competing or combative or whatever, right? It's not about fighting with people, but it is about facing up to conflict. Now, whether you win or you lose, honestly, by my metric, if you faced up to something that you are conflicted about, then you've won in the proper sense of it. And even if you don't feel like you're winning, then you're learning something. And that is a double win as far as I'm concerned. So I'm quite impressed to see it coming up here for you again, Virgo, as it has been doing for a lot of the signs, actually. You know, we've got this, how the fuck do I change things? This malaise feels like it's kind of eating at the inside. I was like, I fucking don't want this anymore, right? So it's about facing up to that which you are conflicted about. Now, what are you conflicted about? Possibly it is about what success means to you. Maybe 10 years ago it was having an amazing job and, a house with a picket fence and 2 kids and, a little wife or a little husband or whatever. It's 2.4 children, nuclear family, the thing that we're all told that we should have. Maybe you're of a certain age and you don't have children yet. Maybe you are, in a job that you're doing because you're qualified to do it, but you don't actually fucking enjoy it. And it's like Groundhog Day. We're just again and again doing the same thing. Like, there's part of your subconscious that is screaming to get out of this repetitive, predictable environment. Repetitive and predictable, actually understanding of self too. I used to think that success, and I did genuinely think this, I used to think that success was having a first-class honours degree and then going to university and doing the BPTC and getting qualified as a barrister, then doing my pupillage and then swanning around in a wig defending people in court. Actually, I never wanted to do the defending in court. I wanted to do something else, but nevertheless, you understand, right? Earning a 6-figure salary, and from the position that I was in at the time, I thought that all of life's problems would fade away. My life would be instead filled with things of, an intellectual kind of competition, intellectual combative behaviours where I would have to go and, go into court, or I'd have to write things that, challenged other people, and then eventually I would win. My series of little wins would be my wins on a legal front. But then I went to do my master's degree, and towards the end of my master's, I was sitting outside with my friend, my Aquarius friend that I refer to every now and again. And I said to her, I don't think that I want this. And she looked at me and she went, what do you mean? I said, we're sitting here in a room and all of there was maybe about 4 of us who were mature students, right? All of the rest of these kids here, they're 21, they're hungry, they're straight out of university, they come straight into the masters. They're willing to put in 70, 80 hours a week to get their career off the ground. They want it. They really want it. I don't. Because I'm looking at this and I'm saying that 70 to 80 hours a week will absolutely kickstart my career, and it would only last for a few years, presumably. But look at what I would lose. My children would be grown by the time I was of a mind to come back and check in with them again. I said, that's not why I had kids. I didn't have kids to put them in the nursery and put them into childcare and never fucking see them. I don't want this. And so I had to completely redress what success meant to me, because I was never going to be able to live up to what my previous idea and my goal that I'd been working to actually consisted of. Does this make sense, Virgo? Can you see how you could apply this to yourself? So, to extrapolate further, I'm in a position now where I can work from home. That feels like the biggest fucking win. Like the biggest fucking win. Because I can come here, I run my own schedule, and if something happens, I can put everything down and I can go and do something else instead. I can go and attend to whatever tower thing is happening in my life at any given point, which happens a lot, right? But it also means that I'm here for the kids. It also means that I'm here for the dogs. I'm here. I'm spinning a lot of plates, but I'm here. That feels to me like success. I know that there are people around me who do not think that that equals success, but that's down to them, right? We're all walking our own path. So it might be nothing to do with the job that you're doing. It might be nothing to do with the relationship that you're in. It might simply be how you feel in your own skin. Because the whole thing with being a barrister and all that lot, like when I really, really dug into that, and I hadn't dug into it up until that point, what I realised was I wanted a job where it was, my job description alone was sufficient to let people know that I was incredibly smart and that they should treat me that way. It was the same reason why I wanted a first-class honours degree. Nobody could question my smarts. And the question is, why was I so insecure about that I needed all of these external labels? And I worked it out, And what it came down to, which is really, really interesting, was that it seemed to me as a child that the only thing that my mother ever really valued about me was my intelligence. It was the only thing that I ever got any kind of praise for. Of course, she took credit for that because intelligence is passed down through the mother and whatnot, and maybe it is, that's fine. But it took me quite a long time of digging to work out why it was that I've had been so obsessive about it. Right up until the point where I was there and I was like, you know what, this isn't for me at all. And so the question is, Virgo, where do you have something like that in your life? If you're bored of being you, then by all means reinvent yourself. But know that this comes about through behaviour. It's not an intellectual position. You cannot think yourself into being a new you. This Nine of Wands is here talking about the way that you feel kind of battered up by life and circumstances and everything. And after the last few years that you've had, I'm not surprised that you feel like that. But the question is, where do you go from here? Because here is not where you are comfortable. Here doesn't feel good to you anymore. It might have felt good to you a year ago. Like the thought of being able to get to where you are now would be like, holy shit, I'm not even sure I can pull it off. And here you are, and you've done it. But there's more growth that's trying to come in here. There's more healing that's trying to come in here. So how do you take the next step? What is it that's stopping you from taking the next step? Does it all revolve around what the idea of actually doing it well means to you? Because that needs interrogating from all angles. Virgo, 100%. This Fool card here, and the Lover's card at the bottom of this deck, this Ace of Wands, this double Six of Wands, it's all in the action. It's all about getting off the sofa and doing a thing, or wherever you're sat. For me, it tends to be at the kitchen table. I tend to sit at the kitchen table quite a lot and stare at the grains of wood in the table, and then wonder why I haven't fucking got anything done. It's like, because you're sitting on the table. Or sometimes I sit here and just stare out of the window. I do that a lot, and I've realised if unchecked, I will do that forever and never get anything done. So I got myself a little productivity timer and I allow myself a little zone out time, and then I get on with my work. I do my thing. What is the next step for you, Virgo? Do you know what it is that you want? Do you know what it is that would make you feel happy? And I wonder if you could answer that question for me, Virgo, without referring back to the past. wonder if you could answer that without a sense that you want something to go back to the way that it was. What is in front of you that is meaningful, and how can you take a step towards that? What's coming towards you is the Ace of Wands in December, with the Six of Wands and the Nine of Pentacles. And I like this because it means that we've gone from the 10, which is the end of a cycle, and we've embraced an ace. We've embraced something new. Now, all of this that's going on here is almost the liminal space between the ending and the beginning. And what I really like about this is that the Six of Wands has been subjugated to down here in favour of the potential. Here we had a contemplation of what all of this means. Okay? How do we bring that in? How do we embody it? What does it feel like? What does it hold? And then we have some sort of, well, some potential at least presenting for you, if not the action. I think when the Ace of Wands appears, it's an opportunity to completely change your life personally. But it feels like this Six of Wands is holding up the Ace of Wands. It's like your new idea of what success and victory feels like for Virgo in December 2022, which is going to be, you know, remarkably different to what it would have been in 2012, because we've all had the shit kicked out of us since then. But it feels to me like this is something that sits better with who you are now than what you thought before, because it's holding up this ace. It's like, yeah, okay, I know, there's my foundation point. And this Nine of Pentacles is about your resources. It's about good resource management. It's about where you put your energy and attention. You know, all of the cards numbered 9 have some aspect of personal responsibility attached to them. And I feel like this is you understanding that nothing is going to change unless you change it. You might see how the Nine of Pentacles is right next to the Death card here. Nothing is going to change if you allow yourself to be kept still. And for a while, you know, staying still was an important thing to do, because there wasn't a step that you could take in any direction without it causing you excruciating pain. But you're not there now anymore. That's the Nine of Swords at the bottom. There, it's just fallen out. You're not in that space anymore. It's about taking the step, each step forwards. We've got the Five of Cups and we've got the High Priestess. We've got the Ten of Pentacles and we've got the Ace of Swords. The Five of Cups is a card that speaks about distress. It speaks about grief and loss and bitterness sometimes and resentment. It is that hole that is left in your heart when something leaves. But it's a process. We've talked about this before. It's not a state that you're supposed to stay in. It is a process that you work through. And the fact that it's coming out underneath the Six of Wands tells me that you have worked through this. Even if you haven't, you don't feel like you've made any progress, you have made some significant progress, Virgo. And we've got this High Priestess. What is your intuition telling you? Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What do you want to build for the future? Because again, the Ace of Swords, which is the truth, you know, it's the light bulb moment, is none of this shit is going to happen by itself. You know, it's often said that we create our own reality. And sometimes I get annoyed with myself about the reality that I created for such a long time. Like, what the fuck? Which is not to say that we create the things that happen to us. But our reality is formed around those things, right? What our responses to those kind of events are, what we take from them, whether we are winning in this situation or whether we are learning. It feels like the emphasis is being taken off the loss. You're moving beyond the loss now. So now it's about the future. It's about all things that are possible for you at this time. You've got double aces here, Virgo. There's a lot that can be achieved by you right now, alone and together with other people. There's a new kind of structure and stability that you can start to build into your life if that is what you want. But you have to be open to it. You have to be willing to it, willing to accept it. And I think that you are more willing to accept it than you have been at any other point in this last 2 years. How much of your idea of what it feels like to be that winning card, right? That being on top of everything, is an old version of you, an old version of conditioned fucking expectations about the way that your life's going to go. And looking at where you are right now, and I think that you're growing out of yourself, Virgo. Like I said, I feel like you're bored to fucking tears of being where you are. Well, how do we change it? How do we do something differently? How do we switch it up? Because the energy's all here for you. I just feel like this is the prerequisite. Maybe you were focused on money in the past. Now you don't give a shit. So why would you keep doing a job that pays you loads and loads of money but makes you really miserable, Can see it working in all sorts of different ways for you. But I'm going to leave it there because I've been prattling on for fucking 42 minutes. What the fuck? Oh. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you if you made it all the way through this. If you would like to join me over at Vimeo, you are very, very welcome. I would also understand if you're completely bored of the sound of my own voice, my voice right now. And don't forget about the 6-month overviews, because I do think they're important and I would really like for everybody to see those. But if neither of those apply to you, thank you again for making it right the way through to the end. Teach me for taking my eye off the fucking time, right? Yes, and I hope this helped. It's time to break out of the comfort zone, I think, Virgo. Know that I love you all very, very much, and I will see you soon.